Hello, everyone online. Probably in about 45 minutes, your mind will be a mess. Oh my God, what's this? And then you'll lay down tonight and say, "Whoa, this is different." Oh. But the beauty of this practice is that awareness has no quality. Conditions have a quality, and awareness knows. And that's what you're always trying to return to. So you accept the fact that, like none of us want to live in a cave. We want to express, we want to share, we want to be creative, we want to help, we want to be social beings, most of us. Um, so that's all right. But uh, there's gonna something's gonna change. You'll probably have a little more information zipping through your brain. Your emotions might get shocked. What? No, really? She did that? or or whatever. Whatever happens, it will be different. But awareness will not be different. So that's the challenge, isn't it? It's not to live some kind of a constant retreat life, because who wants to do that? And is that even healthy? Is that even good? So there is expression, there's creativity, there's generosity, there's intelligence, there's challenges. Those are all good things if they're used well. But the bottom line is, to me, always the the understanding of awareness as your refuge, as your real home. Talking about the heart space, head space. That's a kind of really good thing to keep in mind, that when whatever your responsibilities are in the world, a lot of that's going to be taken. It's going to preoccupy you, and your headspace will be very much stimulated. Thought will be stimulated with more, which creates more thinking, which creates more thinking. So that's natural. So, I was just kind of reflecting what would be in a generally what would be helpful. Well, I think heart space and resting the mind as a general kind of principle. So what is heart space? Um, it might be just hanging out with your turtle. They have a turtle. And you just, with a pet, just something quite simple like that, just something loving and caring, simple, and that gets you to the heart space. It might be hospice work. I know a lot of my, some of my friends balance their life out by serving in hospice. You know what hospice is, huh? Care for the dying, which is really, really rewarding for them. Very, very rewarding. Um, Others use music. Like you're not music. There's nothing wrong with music. Monks don't use music because that's just the way we live. But music can be very calming. It doesn't have to be distracting. It doesn't have to be addictive. So any of the kind of creative expressions we have as human, like poetry, like that, Xin Ming, just reading good literature that inspires the mind. I find that and something like Xin Ming that really nourishes me in a really beautiful way. Um, Gardening. I know. I guess having a garden in Bangkok is a bit more difficult. Canada, we have more land, but my mom, that was her meditation, gardening. And it really calmed her down. In in Canada, you can only really start planting around June because we get very late frosts. The growing season very short. You get a frost very, very short. And in the springtime, say in Toronto, the first buds would come up in April, May. And my mother would sit in her sunroom in her house with her binoculars, look, looking at the flowers coming up. She was so excited. The flowers are coming up. And then when I was caring for her, she hadn't done gardening for 20 years, long time, because she lived in a condo that didn't have a garden. So I figured out how to get water onto her balcony. I've never done gardening, and monks don't do gardening, but I did gardening. And I organized with friends to purchase potted plants. And I set up this beautiful, beautiful jungle of flowers, just this lovely jungle. And I think my record was like 60 pots in a small space. And it was just gorgeous. And then I built a ramp for mom to go over onto the port because she wasn't in a wheelchair, but her walker. So I would kind of get her over, which was hard for her. And then she would just kind of walk slowly with her walker and smell things and look at things. And then she'd just sit there. And it might only be like she'd only have the energy to do it, maybe 45 minutes, half an hour. But it was so good for her mind. It was so healing and uplifting and nourishing. It you could see she was just very happy, very happy, and that's a sense experience, right? It's like a sense. So you think, well, sensuality is wrong. No, it is what it is. Um, it's wrong when you don't understand it. So for my mother, I could see her sense experience was very negative in the sense that body didn't work. She was legally blind. She took pretty heavy painkillers, et cetera, et cetera. At 95, pretty good actually, considering her mind was very, very clear. And I could see that actually sense experience was important for her, that was uplifting because her sense, I couldn't say to her, well, just let go, mom. Ploy Wong. Don't make it a problem. Don't worry. That would have been cruel. So I kind of look, well, what is going to actually help you? And you're not a monk, are you, mom? So sometimes music I would use, not so much, but it was mostly uh, beauty, actually, something kind of that she could appreciate. And I could see that for me, I think that's where I learned or my my concepts around mudita changed, became were more informed from my experience. And so I saw that actually what she's experiencing with the flowers is beauty. It's not greed. She wasn't greedy for the flowers. It was the beauty of nature uplifted her mind and brought her to a really good place, a really, really good. And again, it is about the how important the Brahma Viharas are in these different ways, and not to just keep them as techniques. Now I'm going to do metta, better do some karuna. How about, it's not like that. One of the stories I tell about metta bhavana is, you've heard it many times. It's a very good story. There was a very good friend, a Sri Lankan woman, big family. We were doing a lot of metta bhavana. And I asked her halfway through the retreat, I said, so, you know this story, but how's it going with the metta? She said, oh, I can't cover everyone. And she had this idea, equal distribution. So like everyone gets 6.5 minutes or it's not fair. I said, "Whew, it's really hard." No, 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 Benita, that's not it. It's just about the opening of the heart. And on the same retreat, there was she, I think she might have been Sri Lanka, might have been Cambodian. Anyway, it was during the NATO war in former Yugoslavia when they were bombing Belgrade. So her idea was this idea of prayer, metta. So then her whole practice was to send metta to all the people being bombed. She said, I can't do it. I'm getting depressed. I said, no, that's not what you do. So she thought that was her duty to make sure that everyone in Belgrade who's getting, I mean, not logically, but emotionally, that's what she was doing. And the war goes on. And I said, no, 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 that's not what we mean. You just come to the heart space, and then your language, your writing, your energy in the universe is very, very good. So the heart space for me, as I talk about it a lot, is so important. It's so important, and it's a refreshing abiding. And the insights that many have had on this retreat, that why is awareness and love so conjoined? What is it about that? You can't pin it down exactly, but there is that sense that, yeah, is metta really that different from awareness? Is awareness? And there's no, I don't have a canonical answer about that, but my intuition is if there is sati and there's metta, then that's a very wholesome and natural abiding you can have. So there's heart space, and then there's just resting the mind. Isn't it just kind of, okay, you've got now 600 emails to answer, and how many WhatsApps and lines, and my condolences for all what you have to achieve in the next two hours, but realize that the human emotions and human mind aren't necessarily made for the internet. You know, human evolution came first, and then it got whacked by the internet. And to process this much information, I don't think we're programmed for it. We can process some, but to not rest the mind is not a good idea. So how do you rest the mind? How do you do that? You have to figure that out. Like in places like where I am in Perth, most people go canoeing, they go walking, they're out in the countryside. They have big skies, they have big trees. Bangkok, it's not like walking friendly. Like if I've walked from Damaram to Sukhumvit, I almost got killed. Oh, there's another car. So it didn't make me calm. That's what I miss about Bangkok. I just like to go for a walk, but that's all right. That's not a problem. Anyway, how do you rest the mind? How do you do that? Because everyone here knows how to engage the mind. You know how to deal with problems, and you have a lot of barami for that, for the use of intelligence and problem solving. But the other, how do you rest the mind? How do you actually do that? And it might not be meditation. It might be gardening. It might be listening to a piece of music that calms you. Uh, but I think those two principles, the remaining familiar to the heart space, can we put it that way? Remaining conversant with the heart space, remaining friendly at the heart space, kind of different ways to think about it. And then what is the mind which is like so into doing and solving and creating and doing that it doesn't know how to rest. Those things seem very, very important to me. Obviously, Sila, which we're going to do, this is important. Kalyanamitta is important. But in terms of what we've learned from this retreat, um, yeah, I would say like, we talk about adhitanas, and, I made a determination never to make a determination. So it's not so much an adhitana, it's a vision, a direction, about how you're going to carry on this year. So you set some kind of, um, they're not quite goals, are they? They're set some kind of parameters about being able to observe how this month, this year is affecting you. Because now, like on a retreat, you do understand the heart space. Not that you didn't understand it before, but you are more, shall we say, conversant with it, more aware of it as a possibility. And then also you're more aware of the mind being at rest rather than being active to some extent, not perfect. And that's a kind of basis from which you can contemplate its opposite, the mind which is stressed and restless and always doing, and the heart which is closed with anxiety, fear, and so on. And then do a retreat next year. Start again. So I think that's well, just again to thank you and to thank the organizers and all of you and all the staff. I've really enjoyed your company, and may we do this again.